At the outset, let me warn you, I'm not suggesting that you buy a house. I'm just looking at the mathematics of what a reader has sent in. Is a person I know, is a youngster, and they're planning to buy a house between husband and wife, and the numbers are quite interesting. I am talking about this house because they have decided to buy. I am not getting into whether to buy a house or whether to rent a house. I am anti-buying at a young age. Then this couple is not very old. They are only about 34 years of age. So they have walked in and found a nice apartment in a non-metro, which is not really cheap. It is 1.2 crores. And they wish to buy it. Now here are some of the facts. The husband earns about 15 lakhs a year and the wife earns about 12 lakhs a year. They have not said whether it is gross or whether it is post-tax or nothing of that sort. So I really don't know. But for his take-home pay, he says is about 2 lakhs per annum both put together. So I'm assuming that 27 lakhs, out of which 3 lakhs goes off in PF and taxation, etc. So he has about 2 lakhs of, or they have about 2 lakhs of income. Now let us come down to some of the ratios which I like and which I don't like. If you remember, I had done a post saying the 3, 20, 30, 40 rule of buying a house. 3 means only 3 years CTC should be the cost of the house. Do they qualify in this? Answer is no, because 27 lakhs is what they have as a gross income, and 3 times that is only about 81 lakhs, right? 27 3s are 81, only about 81 lakhs, and this house is 1.2 crores. So it doesn't meet that criteria. They have a 20-year loan on which their EMI comes to 70,000 per month. That is because they are making a bigger down payment. So go to my rule, 3-year CTC, no, they are not meeting that rule. And I realize that in India, meeting that 3 rule seems to be very difficult, if not impossible. 20 years EMI, that is what they have accepted, a 20-year EMI. They should have a 40%, the last rule is it should be a 40% down payment. 40% down payment is 50 lakhs. They are meeting it. I'll tell you how. And the total EMI that they pay should not be more than 30% of their take home pay. That also very closely they are meeting. So what are they doing? They're making a 30 lakh down payment with their past savings and past mutual fund investments, etc. And luckily for them, it doesn't happen for everybody, their parents on both sides, the boy's father and the girl's father, are making a 10 lakh rupee contribution to the house. So that's a huge thing, and therefore their affordability goes up, otherwise they can't afford. Now out of 1.2 crores, 50 lakhs is the down payment being made by 3 people, and so which means the loan is now reduced to 70 lakhs. Now if you take 70 lakhs, it is for them it is about just about 2 year, it's slightly less than the 3 year criteria. It should have been 81, it is 70. Okay, normally when I originally made the 3, 20, 30, 40 rule, I meant total cost, but now I'm willing to make it a little flexible, saying the amount outstanding, because the down payment has already been made, so that need not come into any of the calculations. This is just trying to fool myself. And then the EMI should be 30% of their take home pay. Like he says, his take home pay is about 2 lakhs per month. 30% comes to 60,000. In this case, it comes to 70,000. And I have told him not to make any changes there. And 40% rule is 40% down payment. 40% down payment is exactly what they are making. Of course, helped a little by their parents. Now other costs which they have not, the advantage is they are paying about 35,000 rupees per month rent. That is what they will save. So their extra cash flow is only 35,000 per month, which they think they can manage, right? But now what is their total? I thought so this is very nice, but the problem is they still have some other outstanding. He has a 25,000 rupee car EMI and a 3,500 rupees credit card debt. Credit card debt, I think he has about, it's quite, he's paying 3,500 per month. I think maybe his loan outstanding is about 1 lakh rupees. So this is the minimum that he is paying, which is very low. So this, what I suggested is, when he was taking money from his father and father-in-law and he has his own money, there is absolutely no reason for him to continue the credit card debt. So I suggested a one-shot payment. He has not told me how much is the amount, but he's paying 3,500 per month. So I said a one-shot payment and repay this, and take a bigger housing loan, slightly bigger housing loan, and use that money to repay your car loan, because at least here something is deductible. Now, on almost a 1 crore loan or an 80 lakh loan, on a 70 lakh loan, assuming 10% interest, he is going to be paying about 7 lakhs. So it doesn't matter, he gets only 2 lakhs as deduction. But that I suggested that he buys in his name and his wife's name. So both of them get a 2 lakh interest deduction in their individual returns. Apart from that, whatever they pay will go towards their 80C. So they need not make any investments in PPF or ELSS or anything of that sort, because this is going to take a toll on their cash flow. So this is how the rule of 3, 20, 30, 40 works. Not perfectly working in this case, but since he has given me all these details, he is paying his insurance. Together they are paying about 1 lakh per annum as term insurance premium, which I thought was pretty comprehensive. Then I realized that, I thought was very expensive. Then I realized that COVID has increased term insurance premium. So those of you who have already taken it pre-COVID, you're very lucky, because now I think the insurance premiums are high. In this case, for this young couple, it works out to approximately 1%, because they have taken 2 policies, one for him and one for her. Both are about 50 lakhs each. Both are employed, both are working. Between 15 lakhs and 12 lakhs, there's no really great difference in the total emoluments. So one person cannot live without the contribution from the other person. It is impossible for them to pay the EMI. One person was dead and there was no contribution coming from that person, which means if she got pregnant and doctor advised her rest and she had to take leave without pay, then he is going to struggle paying the EMI. Luckily for them, they already have a kid and they have no plans of having another kid. So that option is not so much of a trouble. One more insurance which they have taken very smartly is spoken to both the parents, saying, in case we can't afford the EMI, you will have to give us a loan, or you will have to pay the EMI and we will pay you rent, which is much lesser. I think that's a very nice safety net that these kids have taken. I mean, I have to call them kids, they're this 34 years of age. And their parents have agreed. Both the parents are doing very well, but these kids wanted to be independent, so they are independent. They can afford to stay with their parents. That's a different thing. So all kinds of safety nets they have taken. They have taken adequate medical insurance. They have taken adequate term insurance. They have taken a loan cover insurance, especially for this loan, apart from the life insurance which they have taken, which they actually don't need, simply because both of them are financially independent, just married and living together. Of course, they have a kid. So to that extent, all their insurance requirements were met, and for this they have taken a separate loan. At that time, they felt they should top up their insurance, so they have topped it up by another 1 crore. So I stopped them from taking a loan just specifically for this loan. I mean, taking an insurance just specifically for this loan. So he increased his insurance and she increased her insurance. So both of them are now adequately insured, in my mind, to look for the kid to be looked after till the kid is 18 or 21, whatever, till the kid starts earning. And this loan will be repaid because they have adequate term insurance to cover. So the kid will be able to live there without both the parents, but the houses, at least the kids. So I made sure that he has made a will and he has put his son as a nominee with his elder brother acting as the guardian. So all this is necessary when you buy a house. You have to make sure that you're following the 3, 20, 30, 40 rule. Don't take a term longer than 20 years for the loan. But if you must, then go up to 30 years. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but see what is your age, see how much you can repay. And if you can't, then don't stretch too much. Buy a smaller house, buy in a different location. You need not buy in Bandra, you can go right up to Dahisar, right? Prices in Bombay at least change dramatically from suburb to suburb, right? So whatever it is, take care of all that, and then make sure that you take adequate insurance. Speak to your parents in case of worst case scenario, what will happen, speak to a friend or something, and completely cover yourself for all these risks, and then go and buy the housing, take the housing loan to buy your dream house. Sorry if it was too long, but I thought it was needed to be comprehensive. Thank you.